Welcome back to Young Chat Sessions VFO. Today is the 3rd of February 2024. I'm saying this for the third time.
Yeah.
Today we'll be talking about education, right?
We are.
Yes.
We will be.
We will be. MJ, please take it away.
So recently I saw this clip and it's been going around in the more so the Malay community on whether you need a university degree to be successful in life, so to speak.
Should we credit the podcast?
I cannot remember it, but we'll probably credit it in the description.
Okay, we can credit it in the description.
A couple of them. So anyways, before we go to universities, actually, I just found this out. Actually, I've heard of it, but I just got reminded recently of the fact that now students do not have UPSR, which is the Standard 6 exam.
I thought they just renamed it. They removed it.
They removed it. And then last time PMI transitioned to PT3. Now even PT3 is also removed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gonzos, Manonzos.
So no UPSR, no PMR in our lingo. And let me just cite the reason of this article that I found. Okay?
Articles from?
This is from Malay Mail.
Okay.
So the reason given is that some of the feedback he received include the person that is justifying this person called Radzi, say that the teachers lack time in school to cover the Standard 6 subject syllabus. So some of the principals said that because too much time was used to focus on subjects which will be assessed through UPSR, the teacher will try to rush the syllabus to allow revisions for students in preparations for examinations. This principal said that time had to be stolen from other subjects which are not used in UPSR. And some teachers find that they are not able to explore creative methods to teach students in schools. These teachers find that this will prevent teachers from making available a more enjoyable learning environment. So this is more to do with teachers. And then they add, and there is the issue of UPSR scores where a student does not get 6 A's, they are considered not being up to par. Say if they get 6 B's, they are considered as not excelling.
I was a victim of this 1A, 4B UPSR sent to last class, all gangster. Then teacher's like, why are you here? I'm like, you tell me, man, teacher, you tell me.
Right.
To properly structure the conversation, high level first, we should go through your primary school education first, then into secondary, and then into tertiary education. So the segment of this is going to be about primary education first, right? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that removal of all this, I think the motivations are not the best because the solution to this thing where you steal time from other subjects is to remove the subjects. You have to steal time from.
Oh, that's a good point.
And only focus on the 6 subjects or the 7 subjects that UPSR.
Wait, I thought UPSR was 5, bro.
Chinese is 6.
Chinese was 7.
Then what's the 7?
Agama Islam, I don't know.
I can't take Chinese and Agama, right? Quite hardcore.
That's 6. I don't know what the 7th is.
I do not know the rest. I don't know Seni or whatever.
No Seni one. Malay, English, mathematics, science.
Maths.
Question, we don't even know all the subjects.
Mathematics. English, Malay, mathematics, science. What's the 5th one?
Usually BM is split into Karangan and the
yeah.
MCQ,
BM
right?
is split into 2.
Is it?
Yeah.
BM paper 1 and BM paper 2.
Bloody hell. English
Can
only
you
gets
Google
1.
the subjects for UPSR.
Yeah, BM paper 1, paper 2, English, maths, and science.
Sorry guys, we don't do enough research for this video, but hey.
It's a discovery phase.
Okay, so the answer
For
is...
SJKC 7 papers includes Bahasa Cina, Bahasa Tamil paper 1 and paper 2.
Huh?
Either way, which one you want to
okay.
choose,
Okay.
So it's just language only, yeah?
Got
For the
it,
Chinese
got
ones.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for the standard one, the government, it's 2 BM papers, English, maths, and science. I thought history or geography was
No,
inside.
that one is Form 1, Form 2, Form 3 already.
So one of the things that, and this extends to PT3 as well, or the PMI equivalent,
Wow.
is that they do not rank order the A's. For example, me getting A in, say, Mandarin is not nearly as important if I got an A in math. Now, I share with you this, right? Because that was my experience when I was Form 3.
Okay.
So I got 3 A's for PMR and I wanted to enter the science stream. and I wasn't allowed to enter. But I got 3 A's in math, science, and English. And because of that, I was put into the art stream.
I would have never pegged you as art stream, bro.
Yeah. But that's why my mom took me out and we shifted to another school. So I think the quality of the A is very important because theoretically, if let's say my school, right, you needed let's say 4 A's to be
Science stream.
you could get the other 4 A's, let's say I don't know, the languages plus whatever, geography, sejarah, whatever. And then the 3 A's, maths and English, you didn't get A. But you can get in because you got 4 A's.
Broken system.
Right? I mean, what does that signal? For me, for example, I think science and maths should be worth 2 A's
Yeah.
versus the languages.
I think the criteria should just be you have to get A in maths and science.
To go science stream.
It's not a number of A's game.
It's
It's
what
a get
subject
A
get
in
in.
maths and science. That's it.
I think arguably, to me, in the defense, I feel language is also a very important aspect of learning.
Important.
So this is a nuance to this. If the maths and science is A, I understand. But the nuance here is which A is more important in terms of English or Malay, because what are you studying maths and science in, the bio, physics, and chemistry in? So what language are you studying it in? I think then the language has to correspond to that. So for example, in Form 4 and Form 5, if you're going to science stream and it's taught in Malay, your priority should be getting an A in Malay and maths and science, and also for English, vice versa, whatever, you get the point. So because the understanding of the language is also very important in the studying of the specific subject.
But do you know now you can choose which language?
That's incredible, but sure.
Only in Malaysia.
But it was my time. My time was like that. You can answer in either Malay or in English.
But the other, maybe the more deeper reason why this was removed is that they did not want to judge, let's call it students the Singaporean way or the Asian way of everything you do hinges on one single day, which is the day you do that subject, which is the final exam day, right? They are approaching a more Finland model where you do not have these final exams, or like they're not as important, and
Project basis.
and you judge
Participation.
on a monthly basis. What do you think of this?
I am on that camp. I'm in that camp. I feel that.
Gang. Same.
Absolutely.
I'm in that camp. I can speak from experience when it comes to this, because a lot of my friends that I went through science stream, before science stream, sorry, a lot of them cram like mad for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe a month like that, for the specific exams. And you can see like last minute readings and all that, just outside the exam hall. Very common. And then when they regurgitate what they have absorbed, it does not necessarily translate as to proper education after. Because it's just like, it's time for PGK again. That type of mentality. So I'm in agreement with that, because it's also your consistency throughout, right? I give you an example when you're working. So if you can manage to replicate this when you are working, isn't that better? Because you want workers that are consistent throughout the year. Yep. You don't want them to, at the end of the project, I rush everything and then I submit it, right? You want them to be consistent players. So I think I'm in that camp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Agree completely. But I guess in the context of removing UPSR, their rationale is false. The implementation, I think, is probably the right move. So it's the right thing to remove UPSR, but why they removed it, I think, is the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Why they did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you completely. You should develop them into workers. They should be consistent.
Yeah, I think you guys already brought up all the necessary points to it.
Yeah.
So the reason PMR and PT3 exist is so that you can stream the students,
Yes.
right? So now without it, how are you going to stream them? Or how are you going to separate them? Do we even need a stream?
Do we even need a stream?
How do you do it? Right. The objective of a stream is to basically let the kid know, like,
To hone down on which path, more or less, right?
to be more
Specific.
My camp is you have core subjects and non-core subjects. When you're in your secondary sort of level, you have to take your core subjects. Your non-core, you get to choose whatever you want to do. So there is no science, non-science. You just choose what you want outside of the core.
But you have to take a certain minimum number of subjects lah.
Yeah.
It's like the American system. It's a credit-based system.
The challenge here is operationally, you don't know how to allocate the teachers and the resources properly. Because if like 99% go and take Sony, and then you got like 1.5 Sony teachers, half being the substitute, then you're fucked lah, right?
Yeah.
So that's one operational challenge, but I think directionally this should be the case, so that people have the option of choosing their own path.
I think it's a solvable operational problem.
Yeah,
in that sense.
Fix one, I think.
Because all you have to do is just get internet connection, and then you have online classes.
But what if you don't even have internet connection?
Then you should consider going to a different school if you want to take those specific subjects, no? You know, because it's the true limitation of that specific education system, right? In the US, if let's say you want to specify in doing art, for example, and that school unfortunately does not have enough art teachers, which is a very common thing, by the way. So they will have to go to find a different school that has that core subject. If you are really, really keen on taking that, you can always just not take it first, but then later on when you go to college, you take it, so that you can just bypass that. But obviously it will be difficult lah. It's kind of like taking French in high school and then you go to college, you take French again, you have the advantage. But if you didn't take it and you go to college, it's a disadvantage. But it's possible.
I don't know if the Sawahan kids got that choice, man.
Probably not.
So, yeah. But you can always, like, for example, so top of my mind, if let's say there's a core school that does provide that additional subject, that core school can just stream it, or they can just say, oh, we offer this course, and you can work your way towards it lah. Because it's only up to Form 3 right? Then after that, Form 4, Form 5, you decide your final.
SPM, I think SPM is still there, right?
So your final stream, you just have to decide, hey, if I really want to pursue this path, right, I have to really go out my way to go there lor. And it's a slow implementation, it's not an overnight thing. So the first year obviously is going to be very challenging. Internet connection, lack of teachers, operational things. But I think there will be a demand for it, so people can see like actually a lot of students wanted this core subject. Government has to implement the next year. Unfortunately, that's the case. Right? It has to be taken in steps, I feel.
A friend of mine mentioned that, when you send your kids to international school, by the time they are standard 5 or standard 6, I don't know how true is this. I don't know enough about international school, but she does because she's actually researching about it. She says that by the time you're standard 5, standard 6, the kids will actually know what do they want to pursue.
Wow.
So I wonder what do they do, It's like,
Ours was a
how are
very
they able
different
to
scenario.
fast track them so fast?
Very different scenario. My experience is no one knows until they have to make a decision on that day. That is my experience. I see all
Just
my friends.
before A-levels or ADP.
Just before, even streamer, even science stream, art streamer, my experience, I was all the day one there. The teacher asked us to line up. How many A's you show your slip for PMR?
And then
she said
that's
you can do either science or arts. This one no choice, do arts only. Or you can do accounting if you want. So she just like the Harry Potter sorting hat one by one go only.
When I was that age, I didn't even thought about like, I have to choose a path. It's more like, I've qualified for science stream.
Yeah.
And that's it. Here I am. I didn't know that's my path in life.
Same.
And I always hear like, you do science stream, you can do art. But if you do art, you cannot do science.
Yes.
That's why I can do.
But in Malaysia, most people who do art is not going to do science anyways. It's like there's like, would you ever, do art and then think of like, I want to become a chemist after that?
But theoretically, it's still possible. You could do like chemistry. I think if I'm not mistaken,
You take the subject. You join the other class.
Oh, yeah. You can.
Accounting also is like that.
So I want to ask this question, right? Do you think that SPM is enough?
Hey, question. So because I know we're doing this very orderly, we can cut this out. We're doing Sekolah Rendah first or what? Or we already
We
jumped to
start
Rendah?
like that trend lah.
That trend.
Okay.
The
All the way
SPM.
to the up.
Okay. So you were saying
What's
Sekolah
your
Menengah?
question again?
Do you need SPM?
Or do you need SPM? I think a final is required because sometimes at the end, I think I'm I don't know about you guys, I feel very aligned with the American education system, because there has to be a form of like, you need to be prepared for a presentation of sorts. You need to be prepared for a finale of sorts. And it should account for 1% of your grade. So in the US, I don't know about for Andrew, but in my school, it was 20% of my grade.
The final exam.
The final exam is 20% of your grade. So you should work up to that. But it's usually part of a larger project that you have been working on for the rest of the year. So like an advertising campaign I did, I have to do it throughout the year. The 20% is actually the presentation aspect of it and the product. So I have to bring a product, I have to present it. And then this is my whole, it's kind of like an English thesis, if you will. So that's your final grade lah. I think it's necessary. I feel a lot of times in the working situation, there has to be a form of presentation, no matter.
So you say like you wouldn't encourage kids to like not finish SPM and just enter the workforce lah? Is that what you're saying?
No, he's saying that you should still have a test, but incorporate other elements besides just examination.
Yeah. Speaking is very important. I think people especially in Malaysia, we have that lack of communication ability.
Back when I was Form 3, I was working really hard to ace my PMR. I ended up only getting 6 A's instead of 7 because school teacher
I got 3, bro.
Flex, bro.
school teacher forgotten to submit the Kemahiran Hero project. So the whole batch didn't get like, I don't know, man. It's like, I mean, you guys definitely know them since we're from the same school. But after I had that achievement, I didn't care about, what is it? SPM. I didn't care about
He
SPM
even cared so much he forgot why he scored the Form 5 exam.
I didn't care about it. I just know that the minimum qualification requirement that you needed to go into university is 5 credit.
Still there.
And pass BM.
And back then I thought credit was A, but no, credit is just C.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah, it wasn't even A.
Wow.
So I made sure I have 5 credit.
Especially Malay lah, that one.
Especially Malay, So I didn't care about biology, physics, chemistry, math. I only took like 30 minutes to do 5 math question, and I still pass.
Wow.
Bar must be low, man.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that is going back to the question, is SPM necessary? I don't know. My experience kind of feel like, not
That's
really.
because of the way it's structured lah, I feel. I think it's fair that the teachers do swap schools, to grade the students.
After I did well, sorry, I cut you off.
No worries, it's okay.
After I did well in PMR, there was no meaning in studying for me anymore.
Wow. You reached the top already. You quit at the top.
Pinnacle of success.
This is my dad's advice, and I feel that I still hold it till today. I always complained about pendidikan moral, and I know I've said this many times on the podcast, so I apologize if you're listening to it again, but I'll reiterate it. So in moral, you have to memorize 36 nilai.
Berdikari.
Yes. Amanah, bertanggungjawab, whatever lah, right?
Tanggungjawab.
So I was asking my dad, what's the point of reciting all these moral nilai if I can stab someone and recite amanah? No point, right? He was like, yeah.
Wait, what are the one amanah? Is it called baik hati?
No,
right?
bertanggungjawab, ya, kan menumpu, whatever lah. Okay, so anyway, he said, yeah, I agree. But unfortunately, in life, no one likes to pay taxes either, but you still have to do it, right?
Wow.
So it's part of a process, right? So, albeit moral is useless, we can all agree. Still have to do it, lor. I mean, it's just, you just seek up bertanggungjawab. So I just did it anyway. I always did my best. I always tried to do my best. Andrew can tell you this. I always studied damn hard. I tried my very best, although I wouldn't get an A, would get B or a C. I know I'm an average kid when it came to that. But you just do your best lah. Yeah, I believed in showing a good example to Andrew and the younger cousins. That's all I believed in.
Was he a good example?
Oh, bro, I was on autopilot most of my childhood.
Yeah. He was on autopilot until he went to US. Then he like fucking woke. He like, what am I doing? What the fuck?
I was on total autopilot. Just did what I was supposed to do. I didn't choose to be born. I'm just here. Just do my best. Kind of. I don't know really. And then suddenly, went to the US and then
Even going to the US was autopilot lah.
when I went
partial.
for the first time, still autopilot, and then saw the tuition fees, and then was like, that's a lot of money. Then did my first test in philosophy. Really enjoyed it, but then got a C. And then I really just
I think once you get a taste of philosophy, you're like, whoa.
bro, my switch flipped, man. That one.
Once you understand
Philosophy is
logic.
what flipped you?
The subject itself flipped me. Also getting a C on my first test, which happened to be in philosophy, flipped me.
Did you get a final grade of a C? No, B lah, max.
But yeah, hit the A at the end.
Oh shit, that's
But
great.
total flip. That subject is just so eye-opening. I fucking love it.
It's the queen of, I would say it's the, if there's one subject to teach everybody, that's the one.
This is the one. This is the one.
Because it was the same experience for me, but I didn't take philosophy in class, but I just watched all the YouTube videos I can on it. And I think it's one of the best things.
So good.
I took philosophy. I don't know why I didn't open my eyes.
The reason is because
Allegory of the cave, etc., and all that. It didn't open my eyes.
but it's more
maybe
like
I'm a
the
dunce, bro.
application, like when you apply it anyways, maybe that's for...
That one is we are going far lah. But to go back to the original point, I feel that SPM is necessary. I feel like it's just the way it's done.
Now,
Yeah.
addendum is it enough?
The current one?
So you get SPM, and you say, don't need to go college, don't need to go to university. Is it enough?
You understand?
Yes.
Andrew?
My stance is the university is the only purpose I feel university serves. I'm excluding IVs out of this. Is you show your potential employer you've managed to stick around when you didn't have to. You stuck through it. Shit you liked and shit you didn't like. You committed 4 years. You work for me. I can trust you'll stick around. That's the only purpose it serves.
Legitimacy that you can.
If you're in the Ivy League club, obviously there are a lot more benefits to going to college. I highly recommend it. You build connections. You can fly high. Okay, fine. So that's the purpose university serves. Now, the reason why I feel primary and secondary education does not serve that because you did attend is because you are forced into it. You're a child who had no say. Right. The distinction is you had a choice to skip class, but you did it. You stuck around enough to get a passing grade. So I feel universities are necessary in proving that. Just to show that you can commit through things you like and don't like in life. When you have the choice to bail.
That's a fair game.
Yeah,
and it's illegal to not go to primary and high school.
Correct. That's why you're forced to. It doesn't count that way.
Yeah. University is still legal to Ponteng. It's just you waste money.
Yeah.
What do you think, man?
Well, I agree with what Andrew is saying. And I'm going to add a new point to it, which is, yes, university is important because you need to mature as well. You're not going to be presented with like all this real world case studies and having things that you need to do that's closer to working environment compared to SPM. But does it need to be 120K?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, does it need to be like 120K, 150K that put somebody in debt as soon as you come out?
That's okay, what? You don't in Malaysia don't have to pay back the debt one.
Get discount, bro, campaign.
Oh, sorry, 1%.
Oh, yeah. So it's like that's the biggest factor, the gripe that people feel that I don't need to go to university because if I am determined enough to make it work in life, there are enough resources available for me to try that out. But if you want to get a job, then that's a different thing because you're getting a job not because of the pay, not because of that one paper itself, but because that is the result, the proof of whatever Andrew just said. You have stick around, you have gone through whatever this kind of stuff, and that is the proof. Not because you come from a certain university, but because I can trust you rather than just an SPM candidate who has not a lot of proven worth.
Is it worth 120K? Very
yeah,
questionable.
but doesn't need to work, doesn't it cost 150K?
No, why not? You just go to some pariah university is good enough.
Actually, I think that works.
Honestly, it's really just Ivy Leagues and the rest.
And Oxbridge.
Sure. Yeah. And maybe LSE lah. Okay, fine. Okay, there's a subset. Okay, there's a handful of universities that matter, and then there's everyone else. So if you're not going into Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, whatever, fuck all, don't worry about it, man. Just go to INTI and call it a day lah.
True.
A little bit of difference of opinion. Little bit. I completely agree in that sense with Andrew and Vincent that you have to apply yourself in that sense that you need to commit lah. It's a show of commitment, basically. And it's a paper that showed that this guy was barely committed or overly committed to the cause, to university. There is a caveat to this, obviously, I feel, that given the opportunity, Ivy League, LSE, etc., I think there is a benefit to studying overseas. There is a benefit to it. I'm not necessarily saying it's a big benefit, but there is a partial benefit to it. Understanding on independence because you're alone. Although you may have the money because your parents wired you and all that, understanding new concepts because how to pay the bills, how to transport stuff, learning a new system, learning how to accommodate to people's different culture, I think it teaches you very, very strong adaptability skills, especially if you travel when you are there. So for example, if you were to study in England, you have the opportunity to save up to go and travel even to France for a day. You're like, fuck, this is what France is like. You learn how to speak, you learn how French people react. And these little experiences are what make up a lot of people in the future. Because when you grow older, and I feel I'm very lucky to be able to go to have gone through this. Like mom has sent me to France before. And then I went there and I'm like, this is brutal. It's like, I don't even know how the hell to get around. But you learn, right? Yeah. Because we are so accustomed to comforts. And when people are accustomed to comforts in their own country for too long, they become very ignorant.
Right.
And it's very difficult to break through when you're older already.
That's true.
So when you're young and you throw them in the deep end into a country where they don't even speak that language, they have to adapt or they die. And they won't die, unless you go to Cambodia and you go down a dark alley. But I digress, right? If you go to a country and you can learn to adapt, even with hand signals, you will be humbled. And not enough people are humbled, especially when they stay here too long.
True.
Yeah. So I think there is a big bonus to it. Even if you get to go to Singapore, by the way, like go to Singapore or even Thailand, you learn something at least one. You learn at least one thing, man, and that's already a benefit. You can't pay for that unless you're there.
But I guess to your point, right? And linking to Vincent's point, right? You technically could achieve what you want,
But don't need the university.
without the university degree,
Yeah.
right? You could go there to work in the soup kitchen for a year, or whatever.
Doable.
Just do that. And in fact, that is like from a pure numbers makes much more sense because you go to uni, you're down like few hundred K in US dollars terms. Okay. But if you go there and work, you're
plus.
up.
You get a real experience too.
But to go back to Andrew's point also, I want to add a little bit. I know network is a great thing when you go to Ivy League schools and LSE and all the greater schools of the world. But you do gain some benefit. Sometimes you do meet, you do meet like the average Joe in that average country. And like if you're lucky, so I rephrase that, if you're really lucky, you meet someone that could really help you. You just don't know it yet.
Yes.
But you just got to be nice.
That Saudi friend, that friend from Saudi, you could potentially meet somebody like that.
A friend from Saudi. Bro, you meet a friend from Singapore. I'm so happy to meet Lawson.
Yeah.
Lawson has helped me a lot, even through tough times. My friend Francesca in Italy helped me a lot during tough times.
I met the Prince of Nigeria.
Yeah. You see, I mean, even if you get to know them and they tell you a bit of the story of their life also, you're like, shit.
In fact, I watched this girl on TikTok. She is like outwardly open that she's what do they call it?
Royalty.
Trust fund baby.
Nepo baby.
Nepo baby, trust fund baby, right?
What's a Nepo baby? Sorry.
Nepotism.
Oh, okay. What the
So
fuck?
she said something very interesting. The dad says, okay, look, you gotta go to university. But don't, for 1 second think, right? I'm paying all those money, all that hundreds of Ks, right, for you to study. I'm not paying for you to study, right? You don't need to study for money. We have money. You do not need to study for a job. Because whatever job you want, just call up my friends, you can get the job. You are going there to make friends, to go and listen in on what's
going on.
the trends, what are rich people talking about. And when you finish university, you should have an entire Rolodex of friends or contact list that if you wanted to start anything, you would know who to look for.
Yeah, the knowledge I get is like surprisingly quite interesting. Like, that time when Andrew and I were in the US, Amazon was a thing. Amazon Prime was a thing. Amazon Express, etc. Right? Purchasing things online were crazy. And then when you came back to Malaysia, you're like, what the fuck happened, man? Can't even buy shit online. Yeah. But when then transition came, you were so easily accustomed to it already. You're like, I understand the concepts of it. But people had to go through that learning curve. So I think things like that also we don't really talk about. But it's like the little experience, you're like, I've been through this before. I'm just waiting for cashback, bro. I just need cashback in this country. Cashback, like you in the US, when you pay for groceries, it's like 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. You click, and then like they give you cash. So you pay 120, but you get 20 on top
discount
of.
basically.
No, it's not a discount. Let's say the total grocery bill is 100. They say, do you want cash back? You're like, yes. You click 20.
Oh.
Then instead of going to an ATM,
you get cash that
the
way.
cashier just gives you a 20 because you paid them 120. So you just get 20 back lah. So you don't need to go to an ATM. You just go to a cashier, buy something, cashback, you get money.
Cashback is fucking awesome.
You see what I mean? Like things like that, I bet if Malaysia implemented, it's a small thing lah, bro.
Best we got is shop back.
Yeah, best we got is shop back.
Yeah, best we got is that.
I don't know what shopback is.
Something like what you're saying. It's just a company who does it.
Oh, okay. So I think things like that lah. I feel learn a bit, but whether it costs that much, you're right. I don't.
I think that's the problem.
Work there also better.
Like the value of degrees are like that.
Yeah, overinflated.
But then the benefit is because the degrees used to be a sorting mechanism. So I learned this a few years back, and I think it still rings true, right? Actually, a degree is not to get you smart. It's not even to develop you. The real value of a degree is actually not to you. It's to employers. It's a signal to employers, right, of your ability. In other words, when you go through the factory of this degree, right, the university, there needs to be a system to stamp you that you are worth getting on board. That's it. I'm not here to make you smart, I'm going to find out whether you are smart or not.
Is it like it's like a legitimacy thing lah? Basically, you go through that process, you okay or not?
So I wonder how does all
QC
these Facebook, Google, Microsoft companies who are publicly saying that we're going to hire whether that person, we're not going to look at the degree as a...
Yes. So why these things exist for two reasons. The first is typically with tech companies, right, judging you and using KPIs to judge their own team is very clear cut. It's like if you want to know a coder is good or not, it's very simple. Can you achieve the same result in fewer time, fewer steps? It's very easy to judge without any bugs or whatever, right? Very easy to judge. And the second thing is that these guys came into an era where everyone had degrees. So they needed a different sorting mechanism really. It cannot be just pieces
It's
of
too
paper.
easy. You get too many of the same kind maybe.
Correct. And so I think my view is that you should go for a degree if it applies to what you want, which means, right, the most important question is, what do you want? And I'm totally for people delaying their entry into university if it means that they spend 2 years, 3 years just going out in the workforce, just working, traveling, like you said, working in a different country, talking to different people, try and teach for Malaysia, do all this bunch of stuff. Even 5 years, you do it. And after that, you formulate what works, what doesn't work, what you want, what you don't
The maturity is important.
And by the time you're 25, then you go back to university.
Your
and
brain
say,
is fully
yes,
developed.
your brain is fully developed. Then you say, okay, this is what I want to do. And I know specifically here. And maybe if you want to be a doctor, instead of studying here or whatever, maybe you have to go to India because they offer something better there. Who knows? But you won't know this beforehand.
I'm feeling this even more now because especially I'm looking out as well, right?
Yeah.
And if let's just say you go back into university somewhere you're 25, and if you decide to go do it full time, that's like 4 years or maybe 3 years.
You'll be 29, right?
They'll be 29. And when you're 29, you come out into a job market where you're competing with people who doesn't even look at degree, but your most relevant working experience. So suddenly this person who went back to university thinking that, okay, I finally know what I want, but is it too late? Because by the time you come out, you might have a kid, you might need to purchase a house and a car. You're too late for a degree.
Exactly.
You might not need a degree anymore.
My perspective is you take a degree, actually quite counter to MJ's point. The reality is you have to accept you don't know what you don't know. You make your best guess on whatever it is you want to study in your degree, but it is not the end all be all.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you do it because it's your best guess. Fuck, you may regret it. If your finances can afford it, you can switch. But if not, you commit. You get to the end of it. You pick a job that's as close to the thing that you want, ideally the exact thing that you want. And then you make roads from there. You hopefully talk to the right people in that job that you semi kind of like to slowly make steps to get to where you actually want to be. That's all. That's the most realistic way, I think.
So I think everybody who sends their kid to go get a degree or people who have gotten their degree knows that the degree is not an end all be all, right?
I don't know whether people know that.
Yeah, the only people who don't know that are the people who are about to go get the degree.
Yeah.
So what should we tell them?
Go watch Yamcha sessions, then you can go and
Like for real, because I'm sure these people who are about to get a degree have heard from people who already have degrees that degrees are not the end all be all.
Yeah.
But it flies over their head because these young uns will probably think, so that was your time. Maybe my time is different, or whatever rationale it is that they have to concoct to justify to themselves that a degree is the end all be all. But take it from us, guys. It is not the end all be all.
no point you say. I think what you can do, maybe it's a solution for them because they don't trust them, right? Is I think what you can do is, one, you can listen to Yamcha sessions and you go into that profession and you listen to that profession, talk about how they got into it. So at least you have an understanding of the path, like MJ was saying. You know, there's one thing you can discover. I think the second thing is also like, I think we live in an age where you can do a quick Google search, right, on that, let's say that job, right? Google that job, you can easily just read the job description, okay? And then you like, do I like it or not? Can you imagine yourself doing it or not? Just really just read it. Like, if you don't understand, you can ask someone older, can you explain this part? Or if you don't even understand the whole thing, just ask someone older, right? Like, you understand this? What do they do? And even if you are not sure, let's say I want to be a doctor, but I didn't even know doctors can be specialists, example, right?
Yeah.
You can just like, what does a doctor do? Google it. Then after you're like, okay. Then you're like, doctor, like, is it clinic or hospital or what? Then you Google. Then you're like, hey, actually I got a subset of doctor. Then you Google. I think the information is there. It's just that people are like, I rather go with my gut.
I don't know. It's hard for me to empathize because at that age, I was on total autopilot.
I agree.
I didn't have that realization to think so clearly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's all fog, man. Like I'm just like going about the motions and like doing what my parents tell me to do, and like
It's like you don't even trust yourself.
yeah, I'm like, who am I? I don't know fucking nobody. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I know this is a bit of a sidetrack, but I feel right, decision making as a kid is very important. So maybe right, they should make decisions. I got to make a lot of decisions.
I thank God I didn't.
Yeah. But I think, but if you did, you would be scared. You know, if you did, you'd be scared. And if you're scared, you'll find out. That's the thing. Because if you're not scared and you're like, mom and dad will figure it out, that type of thing, right? So they decide for you, ma. A lot of times, like, I remember you asked me, John, what do you think I should study? I remember you asked me this. I'm like, just study PR lah. Then you're like, why? I don't know, because in the end, I'm studying advertising, you study PR. Then if let's say we all work together one day, at least we all ngam. That was my rationale. And you can help mom, ma. Worst case.
Do you study PR? You study PR.
You study PR for what?
In ADP.
Yeah.
Then when I transfer, I changed.
Yeah, you see, because as long as you got started. So if you're scared, you'll ask because you're scared. But if you weren't scared, you autopilot this whole time until you had to make a decision. You're like, oh man, I have to ask
But
questions.
I see some people having fear trigger them to make actual decisions. I also see a universe in which fear just totally makes me perish and crumble for some people.
Yep.
But perhaps fear is not the best solution for everyone.
Maybe.
But perhaps a subset for sure.
But I think we live in quite a comfortable society in which even if there is fear, right, you would be inquisitive to ask, ma.
I don't think everyone would be that way.
I don't
serious?
think so.
It's a face thing, like they scared to lose face. You're scared to look like.
No, I think I'm just gonna fucking go into depression, might we?
Oh, I see.
I literally would just crumble if I was not prepared for that fear, or I'm not at the age in which I would cope the way you would hope for me to cope.
For me, I always just ask, would I die or not? You know, that's the thing. You won't die, ma.
You were a bit too existential as a kid, lah.
Oh.
Might be an outlier.
I always just ask, are you going to really die or not if you make a decision like that? Serious? Are you really going to die or not? Like, unless you tell me you want to be a stuntman,
Yeah.
then possible you're going to die.
What
So
you're
I
saying
like,
is like, as long as I don't die, it's worth a shot.
yeah, serious.
thinking.
Like, that was my thinking lah.
100K USD shot?
No,
That is my next. That is my next
You
question.
gotta remember
actually.
this.
I know, but
there is the risk of being wrong that can be managed. Some people obviously, like you said, they're paralyzed or whatever. But then there's the second bit, which is the finance part. So if your parents are backing 100%,
it's easy to make
basically you
that.
can F around and find out, right? But if you're like a lot of people, say in the US, where they actually have to borrow money,
Take a loan
and
to-
they actually, unlike Malaysia, they actually have to pay it off at a
Yes.
market rate interest rate.
You would be, the fear
It's like
is
double,
higher,
like
lah.
it's harder, right? Like I have friends in Canada, right? No, actually a friend's friend. He has a job in like a pretty decent job, right, in healthcare, but he needs to work part time as a firefighter to
Wow.
pay off his
Student debt. Student loans.
debt, right?
Yeah, for
Were
sure.
you guys on PTPTN?
No, we were not. But
Were you?
So, well, I quit,
Oh.
so I only had like one year in uni. Only.
Oh, I was on PTPTN.
Do you
So,
pay back?
yeah, of course.
All right.
Well, my dad
Just
paid for
checking.
me, lah, you know. But
checking.
we gotta pay it back even after I came out to work.
But I mean, if
So
that's
the risk is high.
to go back to the financial question, you know, I feel that no matter what decision you make, there are always going to be after effects of that decision, lah.
100%.
Right? So
Yeah.
that fear of making a decision like, oh shit, like if I choose this course or this university, example, lah, right? And then you're like, if I waste my time, I waste my money choosing the wrong thing, I die, man. Like I have to pay back damn lot of money and all that. I'm sure it will go through your mind, man. Right? So now it's just you still have to make a decision, ma, right? And you can always like what I'm just said, delay, but it comes with the cost of in the future, and if I start a family and all that. But I think what a lot of younger generation is like, there's so much emotion, right, held inside them before they make that decision, because there's a lot of what ifs, and the problem is like they have that. It's so difficult for me to communicate because there's so much. It's a lot. But I think if they just talked about it, but it's very difficult because at that time maybe a lot of the older generation don't want to talk about it, right? But I think if you can talk about it on forums, you can talk about it with friends. You really should just open up. I think if you open up and you just talk to people, right, people will kind of give you their insight on it. Some bad insight, some good insight. But you have to take insight from everyone and then you make your conclusion. Because not every decision is the best. You could be in bad debt. But you could have made a great decision.
Yeah.
But you have to make a decision. In the end, it's a commitment. People are scared of commitment. But if you commit to something, you will learn to live with that commitment. Then if it was a bad commitment, you learn to live with it also. But the question is, did you die or not? You didn't die, right? If you don't die, right, it's okay, man. You will go through it, man. You just have to go through it. If you have an ego, you will learn to grow past the ego and ask for help. If you are like, let's say, you're struggling because you're handicapped, whatever, you will learn that people can help if you ask the right people. You just have to be resourceful, lor. It's difficult, lah. I acknowledge that, lah. And it's a hurdle. It's like sales, lor. You go door to door, you make mistakes. But this one is like one door, big mistake. But next door, maybe, it's like that, lah.
Yeah.
I feel that, lah. I come from a place of privilege, so I have no right to say this, lah, right? I know it's damn difficult, lah.
So the follow-up to that would be, okay, so let's say you have your degree already. The question now is why, I assume everybody here believes a degree is not enough, right? Why isn't it
say for me
enough?
Why isn't it enough?
Well, because some people who do think the be all and all, so you got two kinds, right? Of people who think like that. The one kind, they will fail, crumble, and paralyze and whatnot, because when they fail or whatever, that's it. Be all and all is the end. Then you got the flip side, those who are good in the exam systems, those who can pass the exams and do well and all that, who do get the degree, and because it's the be all and all,
They
feel like
that learning.
they have arrived. So what do you say to those people?
I can make my segment real quick about this, lah. I feel okay. So I think the end all be all thing is very hard because you have to understand that maybe it's nothing is ever end all be all, lah.
Yeah.
Right. It's an ever growing thing, lah. So I think by now, if you talk to enough boomers, they will tell you that, hey, I'm always learning one every day. But the difference is they say it, but you don't practice it. You have to practice it, but you just don't say it.
Yeah.
Right? But I think it's a lot easier to learn things now, honestly speaking. Like if you want to do AI, Adobe Illustrator, YouTube has a lot of tutorials. Even PewDiePie did like a great way to make thumbnails for YouTube. It's much easier now, lah, I feel, lah. So short answer is cannot be end or be all, must learn one. But now very easy to learn, not bad. Must learn, no choice. Otherwise you left behind.
But this is more for people who believe it, almost like they don't have to learn anymore because they've already got.
Oh, so what do you have to say to them?
They already worked so hard for the degree, right? Like 23 years, whatever it is, to build up to that moment. Now they got a piece of paper. They're going into the workforce thinking, well, I deserve this salary because I've.
But if your junior comes up, junior knows one more skill than you, I think
that's why there's a
reality.
big slap in their face right now when the reality hits them hard. They can't get a job that matches their salary expectation. And then as soon as they get into the job, then they realize that, wait, my voice, my ideas are never heard. Then they go to Glassdoor and say, this company is bad. All this kind of bullshit. But when you're new, technically your ideas are not that great because your ideas are only thought about in consideration of what you think is a good idea, but not whether if the business model of the company fits it, culturally, can it be adaptable to it? Are you talking to the right stakeholders and can you talk to the stakeholders? So for those who think that, I've studied, I got good grades, CGPA 4.0. Yeah, but you're only talking about technical skills. There are a lot of soft skills that you don't know and network as well.
Yeah.
So to those people, I would say that, hey, if you're thinking that you've done enough in life, getting a good degree with CGPA 4.0, it's going to be very tough. You should just go into sales.
Change this light bulb.
I think the whether you are in the camp of my ego is overinflated post degree or I fear and crumble or whatever, regardless, the market will sense check you.
Yeah, actually, it's brutal enough to do that to you.
So don't worry about how you feel, whether it's good or bad. The market will adjust you and put you in the right place.
Yeah, if you're not willing to change, I'm telling you, you'll be obsolete fast.
And it's a tough market right now.
It is.
Oh, it is absolutely bonkers. It's like fucking hard mode right now, man.
Yeah.
And then a boomer will tell you, during my day.
So what is, I guess what do you say, okay, someone hearing what you guys say, like, okay, market is this like scary place, all that. What do you say are like the differences between academia in that world and the actual
reality?
Because what's interesting is that some people are 50 and they still have no contact with the reality in the market, right?
Too high up.
People in government, let's say, right? they're shielded from,
Market forces.
they have this idea that they always have an income. But for those of us, all four of us are in the market, right? Like mistakes have
Repercussions.
consequences.
Yeah.
You know, you don't make sales means,
Bottom line, it shows, bro.
right? So what would you say when you start Andrew? Like you could tell you in academia or your friends or your cousins or whoever, like what are the things that they need to know about the market that is going to be very different than university?
I think in universities, a lot of structure is given to you preemptively. The reality of the world outside is you really have to figure shit out on your own, and there is no structure to be given to you preemptively. For example, if you were in university, it's a very simple, this is the question, give me the answer. And you were probably taught some form of framework on how to answer that question. So you know damn well sure that, broadly speaking, there is an expectation and I know what those expectations are. In the real world, questions come at you in ways in which you can't even fucking conceive of. And you have to figure it out.
In a
make sense
timely
of it.
manner, some more.
Yeah, make sense of it because there is no preemptive framework given to you, and you just have to figure it out.
You have to work with people.
You have to work with people to figure out their expectations, and it's
With limited resources at times.
yeah, and that's just life. It's savage in that way, like. That transition is very painful.
Yeah. You want to share a personal experience on this? It sounds like you probably have a few.
Yeah, I think in the context of work, say you are the first ever in your company. So the company that I work in is fairly large. You're the first ever country to launch this specific policy. There is nothing to benchmark against because you're the first in the market to do that specific niche. You're first in the country to do that specific policy. There's nothing for you to benchmark. You just have to do what you feel is right and make sense of what you think is right together with stakeholders who matter. So number one is identifying who you need to speak to. You don't have to speak to everyone, only the important people. You have an idea of what you think makes sense. You don't know if it makes sense for sure.
But you make the best guess.
Yeah, you make your best guess and you reconcile that with all these important people. And you need to manage their expectations along the way. And then once that implementation went live, you have to post-mortem is also important. Making sure everybody is aligned on what's happening after and what the effects are, what's the impact to the business and whatnot. And if you have to adjust, so be it. You just need to realign those expectations again. So that's the sort of like very, very broad, without divulging details, how you would sort of tackle that sort of problem.
Yeah, I come from a business degree and I'm working in business marketing field, also run my own thing. So I know that sales is very crucial. But suddenly I was thinking about what about those people who are working in
Operations.
as nurses, my cousin, chemists. They're not going to be so equipped with business, savvy terms and theories, and you have to go get sales because what is a nurse going to do? Go get sales? So a nurse is not going to think about that. They're going to think about saving lives. So I think answering to MJ's question is that I think everybody should ultimately then just learn about personal finance. Because if you have personal finance, you will correct yourself. You will know what to do. Whether if the job is good or not good, whether if it's matching to what you're studying in degree, whether you have a big reality check that not aligned to what you knew. So if you learn personal finance, because ultimately it's all about numbers. It's all about having that income, putting food on the table. So your job could be not market related. You could be somebody who's sitting in a room 8 hours a day, figure something out. You're not going to have an understanding of what the world is really about based on what you do. So to have the understanding is to then just learn personal finance.
Can you share how managing your finances help you in your business and maybe your job in the past? Or
because I think a lot of people worry about how much they are earning in Malaysian context. Today you get a starting pay of 3K, some unfortunate will be 2.8, 2.5. And that's not enough. And when you know it's not enough, you ask yourself, why is it not enough in your personal finance? Is it because you have enough of things that you have to pay off? Whether if it's your PTPTN, you have to fund your parents' health costs. Then you ask yourself, okay, this job is not going to pay me enough. And what kind of job can pay me enough? Then that's how you're going to correct yourself.
Wow. Actually, I feel it's so strange how all three our approaches are so different. I feel like I would tell that person that the market is ever changing. So like, okay, I can echo what Andrew said lah. You know, it's a controlled environment in the education sector. It's controlled because they set that expectation, and how to solve the problems are very straightforward. Okay, but I would differ in that sense that I think a lot of people forget to ask themselves like what their personality is. You know, I truly believe, and this is Wing Kyong's advice. So I learned this like when I was like 24 or 25. He told me that you should know what you are. If you know who you are, right, your personality trait, it would help you along the way, one. Because the market is always changing.
Correct.
But your personality is very different. Your personality is kind of like your personality. It changes, but it's a lot slower than the market,
on
right?
the margin, it changes.
Yeah. So I think, like, for example, I give my example, right? I was a person that did advertising because I thought that I liked art and I liked the sale of the story, you know? And then when I grew older, I realized that I am not a good client servicing type of person. I enjoyed writing more, which is like, okay, I guess I'm not a sales guy. I'm kind of a creative guy. I don't really like to talk to people. I just like to look at my computer and find cool stories to write about. And then when I grew older, I realized that every element has to have a sale aspect involved.
Yeah.
And then I joined my mom and I realized, okay, I guess I have to fucking do a bit of sales lah, but I can mix creativity with it. But at the same time, I also liked doing videos because I felt like, well, I really like stories, but is there any other way that I can kind of do it? So I did vlogs. Then I'm going to shorten this because I know we're short on time. But basically, right?
About 10 minutes.
Yeah. So I think to shorten this as a whole, right? I think if you know your personality through constant questioning of who you are, like I like stories, I like telling stories, then I guess I have to find a certain segment in the world that has that requirement. Because my individual personality is going to be like slotted in like a Lego piece in that part of the market, ma. But I just need to know which part I'm going to be slotting in. But a lot of people don't ask that. People just ask like, it's very clear, I want to do this job, I want to do this. But you know what? I feel that the market always changes in that sense, right? We don't know what's going to happen. Like if you go pre social media days, right? We wouldn't have had social media, ma. And then now it's like so fast paced. It's like live marketing, live video. Yeah. I don't know what is it going to be in the next 10 years, right? But your personality never really changes that fast. So if you know what your personality is and you know how to kind of shape that personality to fit that market, which is very difficult because it's a constant change, right? And you could be doubting yourself also. But when in doubt, ask people. Just ask people, hey bro, actually, right, what do you think I'm good at?
Yeah.
Then if people give you an aggregate answer, actually you're very good at talking. You just aggregate that, you're like, actually I think maybe I am, man.
You just find a place where you are rewarded for talking.
And then you realize that is your personality.
Work in a library.
Then you're like, wait, what?
You like talking when you work in the library.
Yeah. It's actually, it's giving an example of what not to do.
Yeah. You have to change,
Yeah.
Right? So I think when you know your personality, it's very easy already. You're like, Are you a person that likes talking? Are you a person that's very perseverant? Are you a person that's physically strong? I don't know. These are things you have to ask yourself. And then if you're not sure, ask people, what do you think I'm good at? Like people used to tell me, John, you're really good at fixing stuff. I'm like, yeah, man. I didn't know that. He said, yeah, bro. Every time I cannot fix this, I just give it to you. The printer cannot also, you seem to fix it every time. I'm like, wow, shit. Maybe I should have been a mechanic. Only 2 or 3 people said that lah. The aggregate people tell me is you're good at speaking. You're good at summarizing things so that people understand it a lot easier. I'm like, oh, shit.
Fair point.
Yeah. So I think I would tell like people that market always changes, but you rarely change.
Know yourself.
Ask yourself, but a lot of people don't ask because you go in that whole with the motions, right? Then you just like go work, come back.
Man?
Yeah, I'll just give my final thoughts, right? This is something that thankfully I discovered early on. When you go through whatever system you use, right? Whatever education system, one constant, right, is that they teach you how to improve your success rate in life. So give an example, right? If you take, let's say, an MCQ question, how you judge? Let's say 40 questions, each question is judged by 2.5 marks.
Wow, so specific, but okay.
Yeah, right, to get 100%. So if you get 20, that means you get 50 marks. You 20 right, you get 40, you get 100% right. But in the workforce, in the world of money and all that, right, it's success rate, one side, and the second part is payout. So imagine now, instead of an MCQ, right, what life looks like as an MCQ is not each question, right, is 2.5, you know. There are some questions that will lose you
valuable.
negative 10. If you get it wrong, you lose, you go behind, you know. And there are some, right, that can get you 100 straight away, certain questions. Now, why this is important is because when you go through that success rate thinking, which most universities put you through, you become allergic to failure because now failure and success is like the same unit of satisfaction, let's call it. So every time you fail, that's like a step back. But I think when you go into the workforce, or anything for that matter, failure is actually the thing that benefits you a lot more than it does harm you. In school, you are penalized. Whereas in, real life, it's just you cancelling out one outcome that you now know is bad.
Yeah.
And all you need is, that's why people in business, they keep starting businesses and they only need one to succeed. So their success rate is probably 20%, 10%. If they were judged based on frequency or success, that kind of success rate, it's only 10%, 20% they were failed in university. But because if you judge yourself based on payout also, and this is something in poker is very important as well, then you only need one good business.
You need one win.
You need one win.
You need to win when everybody all in, bro.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
You know what I mean?
Small pots you fold, bro. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So it's always about upside versus downside.
So optimistic, my goodness.
If you keep going jobless and you keep, reinventing yourself and make sure that no single event take you out of the game, I mean, mathematically, that you always have a chance, basically. As long as you're alive, you always have a chance. So it's going back to your principle.
Understanding your personality, what is not good for you.
No, I see, but your earlier point about does it
Will you
kill me?
die?
I see.
Will you die?
It's back to the whole, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The people don't really understand what that means. And what I think it means is just survive. That's it. Survive.
I think it's echoing both, actually.
Yeah.
It's also the part where you kind of know. So if you failed, you just know that I'm not, like I've done sales door to door and I just know it's not for me. Although I speak well, right? So I thought, sales may be my thing. It's not for me. But
That's
understand.
why a lot of really smart people who do well in schools don't start businesses because of the fear of failure, because they see the stats in 5 years, something like 95% of
fail in the first 5 years.
In the first 5 years, 10 years is like 95%, whatever it is. Then they do like that. Why would I ever do that? But they don't realize.
How old is Yamcha
That's how it
Sessions?
is.
3-4 years.
Hey.
You know what I mean? So, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Oh, Jordan.
That's how
Jordan.
screwed.
Bro. That's true, man.
Think of it as payout, right? Whoever is like listening to this, just
But there's nothing wrong, I feel, even if you want to go do a stable thing. It's just, you should, it's okay, man.
yeah.
Won't die unless you're...
Unless you really die, then don't die.
Unless you don't do so well, you decide to kill yourself. So please talk to someone else.
But I also want to
help.
caveat this as to sometimes you do inquire to become in positions where life is at stake. Like you're a doctor,
Oh, of course.
or you're a contractor in a oil plant.
Yeah.
This type of thing matters lah. So take into
course.
consideration lah. When lives matter, then it matters lah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
That's why don't die.
don't. Yeah.
that is literally
That you win by not dying lah, bro.
yeah.
All right, I guess that's it. No
wrap
last
up.
thoughts. Yeah. Let us know what you guys think about this short form. It's not really short, really. Actually, it's 1 hour, but shorter podcast formats where we dive deep into a specific question. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out follow on Spotify, and don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon member if you haven't. Yeah.
Very fast one.
Very fast one. VFO. Episode
out.
3. Damn. Thank you guys for watching. Love you long time. Peace.